I'll start with you, Yami. Please tell us what your director is like. What was your whole experience like?
Our first association with Ajay. Just one reading session and just land on the set.
Then at what point did you come on board? Did he narrate it to you? Did you read the script? What was it like at the start?
He narrated the script to me. I absolutely loved it. I imagined it to be very unique as a film and for me as well.
Ajay, I'll ask you, at whose filmmaking has inspired you to become a filmmaker?
Christopher Nolan.
Yes.
And David Fincher is the whom I try to imitate in some way or the other, basically. The atmosphere which he generates, the performances which he gets out. So those are the two directors who have really have some impression on the way I work.
When we talk about heist movies and hijack movies, सब कुछ तो बन चुका है. What more can I show?
I think people should just be aware of Chor Nikal ke Bhaga is coming.
Right.
They should be intrigued with the trailer, which I believe that I think has been cut really well and it's been received pretty well.
There was also an opportunity.
Yeah.
We could just go up one bit up on what the hijack and heist films do. So there was the opportunity in which I think we have cashed in on it.
Actually, I was reading the comments also today in the morning, and a lot of comments are like, "अरे पूरी picture तो दिखा दी trailer में."
Yeah.
And I was like, अगर इनको लग रहा है कि ये पूरी picture दिखा दी है, तो picture देख के क्या बोलेंगे ये लोग?
Guys, welcome to Bollywood Hungama. Good to see all of you, especially after watching the trailer, enjoying it. So, congratulations so far. What I've seen, I'm very excited about it.
Thank you so much.
I'll start with you, Yami. We have not heard much about Ajay. You please tell us what your director is like. What was your whole experience like?
Of course, this is our first association with Ajay.
Right.
And Ajay and Amar, I think they go back a long way.
Okay.
And Amar and I, of course, we worked with Bala before. And Ajay is someone, when we started working, doesn't talk much. Is just completely in the script, and he'll tell you exactly just what he wants. And especially owing to the timelines we had and post-COVID, all trying to accommodate each other's schedules and this and that. So you don't have that much leverage of time that, okay, you're spending a lot of time with the director, unfortunately.
Right.
So it was almost like just one reading session and just land on the set. So to have that kind of trust in of course, Amar, there's and Maddock. This is my fourth association with them. We again, there is a comfort level, but Ajay was helming it. But I realized while we were especially shooting the film, and I'm not saying this just because you asked me about my director, and my respect for him as a director, as a professional, really grew by the day as I saw him. He was someone. शॉट से पहले ऑफ कोर्स बहुत क्योस होता है, मैडनेस होती है, चला रहे होते हैं लोग, एडीज असिस्टेंट्स, ये मतलब बहुत कुछ हो रहा है. एक दिन एक जना वन असिस्टेंट केम, ही वाज एक्चुअली वेरी सीनियर, एंड सर आप भी बैठ जाओ सर, आप बैठ जाओ सर, आप उधर बैठ जाओ सर, अब मैं कर लूंगा सर, मैं देख लूंगा. And for a second I thought that, is he going to say something? Because to me it sounded, even he didn't mean anything bad. It was just, so that short chaotic time per road was just very chaotic. And I thought, what is he going to say? I was just watching. And he just didn't bother. वो कोने में बैठ के, तब भी वो मना किया था कोने में बैठने से, वो तब भी कोने में नीचे बैठ के एक शोगन छोटा सा लिया हुआ है. अच्छा, फिर शोगन भी ले गए. वो कुछ नहीं, वो दो सीट के बीच में से, इतने से गैप में से वो रिएक्शन मेरा देख रहे हैं कि हाउ हैव आई परफॉर्म्ड, एंड कहीं से सडनली कट के बाद वो आ रहे हैं, यामी आई सॉ इट इन फ्रॉम दैट, आई थिंक यू कैन डू लिटिल मोर बेटर, इफ आई थिंक थोड़ा सा अगर और देंगे ना उस पे जोर तो वो हो जाएगा. मैंने कहा सर आप देख कहाँ से रहे थे मॉनिटर पे? मैं देख रहा था. He doesn't care about anything but just his perfection and his idea. He's always connected with the actors, which is what I love. Most of the film sets, or especially a film like this where there's a lot of background artists, a lot of action or whatever's happening, but आपका director का जो connect है with his actors and actors का with the director in the middle of hundreds of people, that connect he needs to be there.
Right.
I know बहुत कुछ है frame में, but my director is watching the character
yeah,
who is
yeah,
watching me.
yeah.
So I was very assured after that
Nice.
one day that
Someone's
Ajay is always,
always watching.
Yeah.
Right. Sunny, at what point did you come on board? What, did he narrate it to you? Did you read the script? What was it like at the start?
Yeah, I got called for the film. He narrated the script to me. I absolutely loved it. I jumped on board immediately because I imagined it to be very unique as a film and for me as well.
Right.
You know, to be a part of something so out there and a thriller, and you don't know whether it's a heist, whether it's a hijack, and you know what's happening in the film. So yeah, that's how I became a part of the film, and he was gracious enough to give this beautiful part of Ankit Sethi to me.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Ajay, I'll ask you, at whose filmmaking has inspired you to become a filmmaker, and who all did you learn from while watching?
There are quite a few directors who actually have an impression on me. The one which everybody has is basically Christopher Nolan.
Yes.
And David Fincher is the whom I try to imitate in some way or the other, basically. The atmosphere which he generates, the performances which he gets out. So those are the two directors who have really have some impression on the way I work, basically.
Right. You know, it's one thing to get fascinated by their work, and then one thing to be on a set with your actors, crew of 100, 200 people. What was that at the start? Is it daunting? Do you did you ever think that, oh my God, where have I come?
Not really.
Okay.
Because I have done quite a bit of work before this also.
Right.
So I have done lots of short films. There are 2 Marathi films which I had done.
Wow.
And doing a Marathi film is much more tasking because the budget over there is lesser, and the support staff is not that good. Here you have a support staff which is very, very good. So then you can only concentrate, as Yami told, on the performances. Other things will be taken care of, basically.
Right.
So it becomes easier once you have done something like that.
Fair enough. You know, when we talk about heist movies and hijack movies, how many ideas can one think of? You know, so where was this born? Because you know, if I want to make a hijack movie, I'll be like, "Sab kuch to ban chuka hai. What more can I show?" Where was this born?
This I was associated with this script from the very beginning. When Siraj came with the script some 6-7 years back to Amar.
Right.
At that time also I was associated with the script and I was working on it. But with the challenges which you said were there, there was also an opportunity.
Yeah.
We could just go up one bit up on what the hijack and heist films do. So there was the opportunity in which I think we have cashed in on it.
You all have cashed in on it. Yeah. Good. It shows in the trailer as well. You know, same question to you. When a hijack heist movie comes, don't you feel like, what will the director do? Because everything is done and we think everything is done.
But then that is what the script has to do the magic.
Right.
And of course, promotions are very restrained, very constrained when it comes to thrillers. How do you explain what your film is?
Correct.
Do you need to? Where do you need to put a full stop? And so we just leave it to the exactly frame to frame trailer में यही दिखाया ना वो आगे हाँ ठीक है सर यही है सर ये film है sir. So there's only so much you can talk, but as Ajay is saying, I think it's better. I think people should just be aware of XYZ film is coming, like Chor Nikal ke Bhaga is coming.
Right.
They should be intrigued with the trailer, which I believe that I think has been cut really well and it's been received pretty well.
Right.
And that's it. That's about it. And then, of course, it's you know how they feel after watching the film. Obviously, of course, we are aware that thrillers and heist and hijacks film they've been done you know back in the past, but गिन चुन के वही genres अगर आप देखें, we are just spinning around those, but what is it that makes your film different from what you've already watched? I mean, for that you'll have to watch the film Chor Nikal ke Bhaga.
Right. Sunny, what are days like this like? Because again, you know, like she said, thrillers, you can not give out everything. No. In the morning, you all come and prepare yourself saying, iske aage we don't have to say. What are these interviews days like?
So I did that actually in the morning. I went through the trailer again. And it was very interesting because as a person who's a part of the film and acted in the film, there are 10,000 things in your head, right? The plot points and everything. But then I went and I watched the trailer again. I was like, okay, so these are the things that they've said. So iske aage nahi bol sakta. And it's very interesting because actually I was reading the comments also today in the morning, and a lot of comments are like, "Arey puri picture to dikha di trailer mein."
Yeah.
And I was like, अगर इनको लग रहा है कि ये पूरी पिक्चर दिखा दी है तो पिक्चर देख के क्या बोलेंगे ये लोग, because it's like
yeah, that's a
pretty
really good
interesting.
point, Ajay, that how much to show in a trailer.
Yeah.
What is that decision like?
That was really task over here, and we should. I think Dinu and Amar have done a commendable job over here, because I had seen the previous trailers also, but the one which you are seeing is the best one. That just creates enough intrigue, just gives you enough idea about it. But just to tell you, it's just the setup which you are seeing. There's a lot more in there in the film.
So those who have commented saying puri picture dikha di, there's lots more to come.
There is lots more.
Forget Sunny and I, what he said is actually
correct.
Yeah.
point on.
Right.
It's just the
Sorry,
setup.
on point.
Right. Right. Yami, you continue to do interesting films. Again, when this came, what do you want to give an audience? We won't give out much, but what is happening here? Tell us about your role. You can just.
I play Neha Grover. Neha is an air hostess.
Yeah.
And as you can see, there's a very sweet new age love story also with Neha and Ankit, which is a very pivotal part of the film, and of course with the backdrop of a thriller hijack / heist, what's happening, and as Ajay sir said that is it is it just this or आगे film में क्या है? So again, a very exciting role, a very exciting script. I think I can literally write my version of thesis of how many versions of thrillers can be there, and having done this is my third, but I can say as an actor that and confidently that they're all very different from one another. I think when I read a script, I'm reading it as an actor, I'm reading it also as an audience. I need to be equally excited as an actor and as an audience for me to be able to associate myself with the film. That's extremely important. At any point if I feel कि अच्छा यार interesting हो सकती है film, but मैं ये कर चुकी हूँ पहले, I don't think I will do that, या मेरे लिए बहुत interesting है, मुझे ये करनी चाहिए, but लोग शायद I don't know, I want preferably best of both and the balance of both the aspects. And I think Chor also fits in that really, really perfectly. In fact, if I tell you honestly, when I read the script, of course, we were very clear about the character and this, and how Ajay wants to execute the film. When I started shooting the film, I realized it's much more challenging than what I had thought the film to be.
Yeah, that happened with me as well. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely right.
It looked simpler on paper.
It did. Yeah, it did. Like a Thursday, I was very prepared. In the sense, I knew what was coming, especially in the last 15 minutes, or how the initial part of the film, that switch and all those. I was very prepared. Dasmi or Lost. This one surprised me. It became a thriller for me. That I'm going home or I'm going back just really exhausted, and not just some physical exertion. Like I think emotionally it was really heavy. This film, and I can't explain this more because I was myself very surprised. I was not prepared for. I mean, I was prepared, but not that prepared. It's going to turn out to be that challenging.
Because it was tedious and grilling on the sets, or there's too much happening?
I think with the respective characters, where you realize what it needs, and you realize it. I knew it. I mean, of course, it's not that there was a shock or कि अच्छा ऐसा भी करना है. मुझे पता था क्या करना है. But the way I think sometimes the character or the process takes you through their journey, and as I said, there were not many interactions with Ajay before. This was the first time we were working together.
Right.
And I love that about him, that it was not just कि सिर्फ screenplay wise एक thriller है, इसमें ये twist है, ये turn है, ये है, वो है. मुझे character में invest करना है. मुझे देखना how as an audience I'm invested in these characters. That's as he said, that's the most important thing. I think that became very challenging, and a good challenge, and something that I really enjoyed doing, but I know it was much more than what I'd expected on paper.
Right. Sunny, same for you. Was it much simpler on paper? And when she explains this, what was your experience like?
So when I read it after the first narration, I was like, "Arey, this is superb, yeah!" And you have those set images के हाँ इसको ऐसे करेंगे, इसको ऐसे करेंगे, इसको ऐसे करेंगे. Cut to I reach on set. And first 2 days, I remember me and Ajay sir would have extensive discussions about even the smallest of points.
Wow.
Because it was very, very important to get things correct.
Right.
थोड़ा सा भी इधर उधर हो जाता ना तो वो वो chance नहीं था. So we would have discussions, and धीरे धीरे I realized that no, this I have to surrender it to his vision.
Right.
I have to surrender it to what Ankit Sethi is, and not bring my preconceived notions about it. So
Right.
for me, it was a very interesting process because जो मैं सोच कर set पर आया था, I had to forget that and I had to start building it again while shooting, and it was very interesting.
Nice. That takes your acting skills to a new level.
Yeah, so it was like diving in the deep
Yeah.
for me, you know. So great experiment, but I had to just surrender it to his vision, and it's come out really brilliant. I'm very
Amazing.
excited. मुझे इतना कुछ बोलने का मन कर रहा है लेकिन मैं बोल नहीं सकता.
No, you have a lot of interviews. पूरा
Yeah.
दिन बोलना है. Lastly, just to end on a fun note, all three of you tell me who's most likely to give out more than they should.
It's me.
I
You?
think it's Sunny.
You also
He's,
think so?
yeah.
What do you think? Out of the two of them, by the end of today in all these interviews, who will give out the story?
I think Sunny, because I'm not gonna give.
I think it's going to be Sunny. Yami, I know.
I almost gave it out before the cameras were rolling.
Great, guys. You know, this chemistry shows, and you know, I've always liked both your work. So, all the best. Ajay, hope this does very well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir.
Thank you.